Were you aware at halftime you had as many points as the Suns?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Trash talk. Not everyone does it, and not everyone can absorb it. But those who get trash talk and can hear it, absorb it, and spit it right back at you are some of the most mentally tough athletes of all time. Luka Doncic is one of those athletes, and the evidence screams it. After losing Game 5 to the Suns, you just saw the clip, Luka walked back to the locker room saying the Suns were all gassed up after one win. And he said it in a menacing tone, like he knew it was a fluke, and the Suns got the lucky victory. This is a 23-year-old that has played in a relatively few playoff games thus far in his career. And to say something like that after getting blown out in a pivotal Game 5 to trail 2-3 in the series, about a team that represented your conference in last season's NBA Finals? Luka reminds me of just a couple of guys I saw or read about that came before him. Only a few guys in the history of the NBA have exhibited that level of confidence and actually played better with the pressure on. Guys like MJ, Bird, and Kobe Bryant had that mindset of wanting to psychologically destroy their opponents and make them forever regret that they ever put a pair of sneakers and dribbled the basketball that day. And speaking of Larry Bird, when you hear someone say he's the modern version of Larry Bird, it is blasphemy to put these two in the same conversation when it comes to dealing with trash talkers. That cold-blooded killer instinct that when pushed to the absolute brink of failure or defeat, the absolute greatest comes out of you. In Game 7 of the 2022 Western Semifinals, the Phoenix Suns' blowout of the Dallas Mavericks would have been enough to slam the door shut against most teams, and most great players. But the more Devin Booker ran his mouth to Luka Doncic after the game, the more Luka responded in the biggest of ways. He was unstoppable, menacing, and downright disrespectful to some of the guys trying to guard him.
Working him down low, Doncic with the bump and the spin. Another for 16 into Biyombo, Deverton's 27-point lead. Down goes Johnson, 3. Luka.
Hold up. You trash-talked the guy, mocked his Luka special, and then came out on live national television and put up that monstrosity of a performance? Luka demoralized them, but even that's an understatement. He straight up toyed with Phoenix all game long to the point that even Luka would just start laughing and smiling each time he hit a shot. And like he was in awe of himself. In the first half of that game, Luka came away with 27 points, and Booker had 2 points, with a whopping 0 of those points coming from actual field goals. Luka didn't just outscore Devin Booker, and Chris Paul combined. He had the same number of points as the entire Phoenix Sun roster. That's embarrassing. I can't recall another time in NBA history, certainly not in playoff history, where one individual had as many points as the entire opposing team for one half in the game. My mind was blown, seriously. And I don't know why you would feel the need to ever open your mouth in front of number 77, because, well, you don't want to wake the beast that's in Luka. Remember what Luka did in his first playoff series of his career when he hit a game winner at the buzzer against the Clippers? That dude was born fearless and ready for the moment. If Luka were stone-faced down 2-3 in a big playoff series and apparently had 0 level of concern despite the opposing team openly trash-talking him and mocking him, what's a 6'1" guard possibly gonna do?
Pat Bev things, trying to get under Luka's skin. Luka stayed calm so far, but he is looking at the ref every time down the court. Luka on 14 technicals, 16.
This is Luka Doncic, and he loves dealing with trash talkers, so forget trying to get in his head. And this is Patrick Beverley, who's probably a first ballot Hall of Famer in the Hall of Trash Talkers, and is trying his mightiest to irritate and get in the mind of Luka Doncic to throw him off his game. Luka is 6'7", and Pat Bev is all of 6'1" tall, but he's holding his ground. I mean, Pat Bev stood up tall against a 7-foot Kevin Durant a few years earlier in the playoffs, so he'll do it against anyone. Beverly gets overly aggressive, but he doesn't care, not even in the least bit. All he cares about is that he slapped the ball loose and got somewhat of an irritated reaction from Luka. But that wasn't Luka taking exception to Pat Bev, the refs, or really anyone. That was Luka turning on his killer instinct and feeling every bit of need to go at the throat of his opponent. But this friendly rivalry goes back even before the game, and back when Beverly was on another team. In the 2021 postseason, the LA Clippers and Luka's Mavericks matched up in the first round for the second year in a row. This was that time. A 22-year-old Luka Doncic will be put to the test against what many people called the best perimeter defense in the NBA, led by a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year winner Kawhi Leonard, and a couple of guys in Patrick Beverley and Paul George who made the all-defensive team multiple times in their career. And after Luka played most spectacularly in the bubble against the Clippers by scoring a bunch of points and even a walk-off game winner, the Clippers, and more specifically Pat Bev, were put on notice. So this time around, Beverley made sure he got the Luka assignment from the get-go, and he didn't have the easiest time in the world.
Regular season, that record was identical to their home record, 21-15, and it's a good road start today. A drive by Luka, a finish by Doncic, a foul on Patrick.
More to play for Luka. He's got Beverley on him, so he goes straight to the rack. And Beverley didn't want that switch. Now he's got to take it. Luka all the way to the hole for the easy one.
The Mavs may have lost in 6, but they had no answers for Luka. He only averaged 36, 10, 8 on 48% shooting. Think about how impressive this was from Luka. He was the only guy in his team that could go and consistently create a shot. He faced double and triple teams all series long. They threw 3 and 4 different defenders at him throughout each game of the series, and he still made it look easy. The man, well, no, the kid was just 22 years of age. Enough said. And he put Beverley in his place so fast and taught him a lesson so harsh that he started going on national television to talk about how good Luka is and what a nightmare he is to defend.
They have no one that can guard Luka.
Pat Bev learned, but Devin Booker learned and got a taste of the brutally harsh reality of risking talking trash to a guy that doesn't like playing around. This is what happens when you have a guy who seeks conflict and loudmouths on the court and ends up destroying whoever tries pushing his buttons. Every guy in the NBA wants that cold-blooded mentality. Either you're born with it or you just don't have it. Luka Doncic is one of those rare players who entered the NBA with that mindset, and he uses it as burning fuel to bring the absolute best out of himself on the court. Let this be a lesson. And remember, you'll always be better off being friends with him than trying to turn him into your enemy.